for saying that August can go a number of ways. Uh, right now, what we're going to do is just identify the different ways it can go um, based on all these different candles on the indices, but not candles, all the different tickers based on the indices, um, tech, consumer staples, oil. We can even dive into crypto if people are interested in covering that as well. I've been talking about crypto quite a lot these past few weeks. And yeah, that's essentially the purpose of what we're doing today. And being ready for it means that you are prepared. The thing about opportunity in the market is that you want to be where opportunity is going to come, right? And you need to be ready to be able to take advantage of opportunity. There's opportunities every single day in the market, right? But if you're not prepared, you aren't ready for it. You can hear that, oh wow, and AMD just had a great earnings. I'm going to take a call, right? And that might make you a little bit of money, right? But if you hear it and you didn't plan a trade along it, how do you know if you're chasing or not? How do you know how far it's going to go? You're not always able to figure that out just instantly as something happens. We plan trades when new months start, and we are already able to identify 500% trades, 1,000% trades. We can go even smaller. Just, hey, this is going to look like a 100% return, doubling your money over the course of a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Um, but how big of a skill is that if we're able to identify things that are 300, 500,000% in advance, right? So with that said, right now we're starting from autostratic because that is a point at which we can already identify what are the main event trades that are being pointed out that we should be paying attention to on the chart. So um, what you can do now, Jamal, is double click on the indicator and then switch it to the monthly time frame.
Gotcha.
And don't switch to the month yet. Just keep on the day. All right. So now these are our tickers. So boom, we already have 8 tickers that we should be focusing on going into next month. Not every single one of them is going to be a banger, but right now we have a starting point. Um, so Jamal doesn't have the most, and actually no one has the most updated version of Autotrack except me, because I haven't published it yet. But it's about to be published very soon, no later than the end of this week. I'm actually going to take a screenshot right now of what it looks like, because essentially it actually gives you the setups that are associated with it as well. But for now, everyone, even people who do not have AutoStatic, you now have this free outlook over these are 8 free trade ideas that you want to be considering, like right now, and that looking at their chart. What I'm gonna do, I'm on my laptop, I'm taking a screenshot of what I see right now, and I'm gonna post it here in the Discord. So, for example, let's just go to Walmart. That's the first thing on the list. And so I typically like to use AutoStrack in one tab and then chart in a different tab. And so we'll probably go back and forth between them. So now here on Walmart, Walmart's an interesting case. Um, so Walmart right now is, and right now it probably won't show until the market opens tomorrow, but it's giving a trade idea for puts right now. Do you have a score available for that?
Mm-hmm.
So we're also putting the strat score indicator, which is another thing that's part of the auto strat package. Um, so right now on the monthly, if you can see there, It looks like maybe the actual the bar should show. Do you think we'll zoom in? Um, huh. Switch stickers back and forth. So like press like down and then up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, type in Walmart. Typically, my things align pretty well. Okay, there we go. So, so here we go. So now the score popped up, and some people might not be able to see, but it says 55. So it's 55 bearish, right? On the left, what strat score is showing is the bullish strength versus bearish strength. Right now, the bullish strength is 55, while the bearish strength is 110. So clearly, right now, the bearish strength on the monthly is stronger than the bullish. So that means Walmart is looking pretty weak right now at the moment. So now there's a trade idea that is generated on the chart. Right now, there isn't it isn't displaying the options trade to take, but it's alerting us that we have if we break the low of this month, and this month right now is showing, I believe, to be a shooter. Um, that that's giving it the opportunity for a 55% chance that we can fall from $67 to $65. So a $2 move, which is a pretty big move for options, right? Especially on Walmart, which it doesn't really move many dollars in a day already. And we have to also remember that Walmart got stock split. So all of those individual dollars, I don't remember how big the stock split was, but I think it was trading this right now. It would be trading around over $200. Um, so every single dollar move, you think of it as $5 in the past. So those options can definitely move a lot if we just consider it from that point of view. Um, and so that's the trade idea right there, right? That Walmart has been running for several months in a row. Now this is finally looking like a moment where, hey, we reached an exhaustion point. Bearishness is increasing, and so if August starts and Walmart starts dropping, if it drops below 67, it can fall all the way to 65, or even all the way to like 58. Um, this setup that's on the chart is called the pivot machine gun down, which additionally, not to put too much information, but if Walmart falls, it has the potential of triggering multiple previous lows in a successive fashion. So if Walmart dumps, it can dump really fast, essentially, because it's just triggering the stop of all of the people who bought in at several different levels in a consecutive fashion. Does that make sense to everyone? So the 110 refers to the weight of bearishness. And then the 55 refers to the weight of bulletin. Well, once once the strat score exits beta, it'll be a guide as well as probably a better visual component. But right now, that's kind of what is available right now. That makes sense, everybody? As it pertains to Walmart. So first trade idea done. Now you have no excuse for not being prepared for Walmart in August if it happens, right? We don't have the we don't know, we can't predict the future for any of these, but we have the setups to get us prepared for if this, then that, right? That's all trading is. If this happens, then I do this. And you just have to structure your trades and your process just like that. Yes, Walmart still has full time frame continuity. That's a good point, right? And so, and now that's a good point for making another point. right? That it has full time frame continuity green, and that has been why it has run up for so long. If you see that, that's almost like that 7 consecutive green months, except for that one red month. 7 consecutive green months of the straight green, right? So now, because we're starting a new month, time frame continuity on the month completely reset, right? So as soon as tomorrow starts, Walmart can go full time frame continuity. They can get go full time frame continuity red just like that, right? Because if the month becomes red, then if the week becomes red, the day becomes red, and then boom, there's your full time frame continuity red. Of course, it won't have the year or the quarter, but it doesn't need it. Full time frame continuity only needs all the way up to the month. It was a great point, Eve, but uh, that's kind of and that's a good point in the way. Like when we do make these trade ideas, we want to consider, hey, this is a setup, but we do want to consider what are the risks associated with it. And so you brought up a really great risk in the sense that, hey, like, you know, you still have to just be careful if the bullishness continues. But at the moment, we're kind of seeing information that's spelling out to us that there's a level of bearishness that can happen here because of the setup. So here, this what we're showing you right now, that's 100% setup. If Walmart triggers, that's a possible 100% trade, easy. So we'll close that on Walmart. Because it's a great example, right? So what's the next? What's the next one? Jasmine suggested Square. So I'm gonna hop off. If Jasmine, if you want to come up, or Jamal, if you want to talk a little bit about Square. And by hop off, I don't mean I'm leaving. I'm gonna shut up for a little bit.
Yeah, Jazz, did you want to come talk to us about the Square Biz? Give us the Square Biz. This looks pretty bad.
Am I on here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, everybody. So I was just looking at it really quick. One, Square has earnings tomorrow. That's also something. But I seen Square on the radar, and then um ARKK is also on the radar, which Square is. ARKK is an ETF, and Square is in that ETF. And so I also have this chart on Square, which I'm trying to take a screenshot of it. And I just looked at it really quick. I had it already charted. And it looks like it's reacting to this broad information that I had on the month. So just looking at Squares, looking like it's pretty bearish. Like Jamal said, looks kind of bad. It's kind of has some sideways action, sex box action. But yeah, that's what I saw. Possible 3-2 setup on the month with the kind of a shooter setup, but earnings is a little bit weary, but if you get enough time, maybe Square will touch. That'd be crazy if Square touched the bottom of the bottom information, but I always say it's crazy, but it happens.
We don't typically trade earnings, and we teach people typically to remember what we talked about today, actually, in the 30-day challenge. If you saw it, that we focus on high probability setup. Earnings typically is not high probability in the slightest. It's actually, I said typically, it's never high probability, actually, if we want to be clear. However, if you are a person who enjoys the thrill of trading earnings, um, this setup that I see right there, that does look like a potential put. Anything can happen with earnings. That's why it's low probability.
Hmm.
But what I have seen often is that the fundamentals of the market continue to stay the fundamentals of the market, such that if we see like broadening formations or we see like ICT setups where there's where buyers are, where sellers are, so on and so forth. Um, right now, if it does start bleeding into that left green candle and it really just evaporates all the buyers, like this thing can get really destroyed. And with Square, they've been going back and forth. I'm not sure about their company, but it's been underperforming because of the nature of interest rates and other things in their business. As much as I love the company and the leadership, it has been underperforming, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if upon earnings they say something bad and they just fulfill the destiny that the chart has spelled out for it,
Yeah.
right? If
Square loses
not,
that week, it's done.
yeah. Like if not, if they have a positive earnings, that may change the setup. Sorry if there's background noise. Um, but
Okay.
the setup is the setup. Either you play it for earnings or you can make a trade setup out of it after earnings is done, which is typically what I do, what I'm going to do.
Hmm. But that was all, Jamal. If you have anything, oh, and the score, I added the score on it, and I was like, oh, so
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that school is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Oh, let me say. Oh, and then the ARKK, I said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to keep track of all this stuff, so um, have a list. Now, ARKK also includes what is it? Roku, Tesla, and some other stuff. Let's look at it.
Yeah, coin laid out.
ARKK is about to get its last look.
Yes.
Excuse me. But that's what it's looking like, family. The Coinbase has a bearish setup. Square has a bearish setup. I'm not sure about Tesla.
Yeah, it
Tesla just
looks
looks
like
like
it is.
whatever. I don't know.
No, it's been selling off since a little bit before earnings. Hold on, didn't they have earnings? I don't know, but yeah, it's been selling off hard.
Somebody has to do something. Somebody. Oh, but yeah, ARKK looks awful. It can still go up. Always, I always think about, hey, this could be the other side. But definitely watch Square's earnings tomorrow. And if you don't trade Square and maybe swing that through earnings, you can trade ARKK as a sympathy. Mind you, there still is levels of IV crush that can happen. Um, and if you don't know about IV crush, we could always send a video if you want to learn that. So let us know if you want to learn more about what IV crush is as it pertains to earnings. We won't fully cover it now, but with ARKK, that could be something. That itself could be a trade if it works out that way. So watch what Square does for earnings, and then ARKK might be something that you play because it's an ETF. And trading ETFs with options is typically a bit safer than trading just individual tickets.
Yes, sir.
I can put that earnings swing pick from the starter guide in here.
Say again.
Just a quick PDF picture to talk about earnings, swinging through earnings and Ivy Crush.
Oh, okay. So one on here that I'm actually interested in, maybe looking at Bank of America
Yes, that would have been my second choice as well
and
from that
also
list.
AT&T. So Bank of America, oh my, looks
Yes.
very shooterish. So we're seeing a theme here is that people, I mean, these stocks have gone up this month and then got shot down. Well, Bank of America looks good. I mean, that's a really nice shooter. It has, I think, the same score as Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So Bank of America actually looks good as far as being bearish. And we could play that particularly to the next candle down. Could potentially go to 38.34. And then that could be the first target or a target. And then maybe if you want to even look at what the ADR is for the month and see what an ADR potential ADR target could be. So that's telling me it's like around 35.80. So the ADR on the month is like $4. So we can say somewhere around here. Let me just put this over here.
I wonder what happened with Bank of America though, because it's like the worst performing of all of the banks.
Yeah.
You know, XLF had an incredible July.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know what happened with Bank of America. You know, but I mean, this could be the point where, I mean, right now, if you even look at XLF, the month won't show you it, but the daily could show a possible double top.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's not close to like being what we know to be like a finished double top, but we're making a second peak. You know, like we're about to approach a previous high on the daily.
Oh, wow. Okay, because this is what I saw and was bullish on it. So I saw this.
Yeah,
That's
XLF looks, and we saw City get generated for call to the upside a couple of days ago. Like those are definitely good. It's just something to be mindful of, especially if we see Bank of America having a crazy sell thing, right? That we just want to. I don't. What's JP Morgan doing? Okay, so JP Morgan had a red day today. Um, yeah, just looking at the sector and seeing what's good.
Yeah, a couple of the things in FLF, XLF are kind of bullish. I think the star right now is most likely GS, but they don't really have a monthly setup. I don't think, I don't believe, and they're really expensive also. As you can see on the month, GS has been just going crazy. Actually, it had a that's a 212 setup right there on the month. If we would have seen that at the end of the last month, that would have been nice. Buffett sold shares of Bank of America. Okay. Nelly says because they suck.
That's why.
So yeah, we can keep an eye on Bank of America if it does remain bearish. That'll definitely be a nice one. It's going to be a slow burn, most likely, because Bank of America doesn't move that much, but it won't be so stressful. It'll just be a really nice ride, like a comfortable ride, like a Lexus to hell, I guess. riding in the Lexus to hell.
Um,
Were you about to say something?
yeah, that's making sense, everybody. The banks.
So the one thing I was looking at, the banks will benefit if they do decide to um, lower the rates September. So just keep an eye on that also. Because as you've seen today, even when he, started giving a little hope today, the market kind of went up. It sold off towards the end of the day a little bit, but QQQ was up, I think, like 3% today at a certain point, which is crazy.
Just side note that the crypto is getting its thing whooped too. Just letting people know, even though I gave that final heads up about Solana, you still have quite some time to get in before 200 because as soon as the week started for this week,
Right.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they all said, "Oh, all right, let's pump," and then it's over. So a lot of them are certainly getting that pain and looking double tappy. So they're getting some more buy opportunities for Bitcoin. So hold your horses. If you feel as though you missed Bitcoin again under 70,000, you have another opportunity. That is, if you are a believer in the theory. Not there's no theory. It's more so the research and observations of how inflation is affecting the U.S. dollar and is consequently the entire world in terms of access to resources and currency. So it's kind of what the appeal is for anyone who's never understood what currency. Um, your radars. Wait. Okay, so this is Sparta. What you should do is you are probably on a ticker that is like futures, and then you should go to the daily time frame. So it's what's possible that's happening is that you're on the monthly. So Trading View is a little stupid sometimes. As much as I love Trading View, um, the reason why when Jamal pulled it up, I asked him to be on the daily time frame and then switch the radar to the monthly. On the month, in the radar settings to switch it. But you have to be on like the daily or weekly time frame because when you go on the monthly, it's going to show you that message, unfortunately, you know. So it's just some limitations of TradingView itself when we try to build apps on it. But it should still be there all the way up until tomorrow. Is there a tutorial for understanding the strat score? Yes, there is. I'm about to drop the video for you.
Excuse me. Okay. I just want to ask everybody who does have the autostratic if you could maybe drop, or we could have a volunteers to drop some tickers in the chat. I mean, I have some already, but I just wanted to give y'all a second maybe to run a scanner while I go get this food that's outside on the porch. So just I'll give y'all like maybe 2 minutes, and I'll be right back.
All right. But so Intel, Netflix, FanW, Roblox. All right. So we have some information from the good people already. Oh my God. Yo, Intel is Intel going to survive this whooping? Wow. And the thing was about Intel was that it it was up. Like it remember it had that extremely long like quintuple inside week, and then it finally broke out. It had an insane move because the bigger the band, the bigger the breakout, and then it just lost everything. So it's like, what's the point? Intel looks crazy. It might still consolidate for a little bit, unfortunately, but that could, especially since Nvidia and AMD got their butts handed to them. Intel can follow suit and then see some destruction. So, will we be there for Intel's destruction, family? What do you think? Right now, I can see it falling to 29.49, which is just a dollar move. But I think for Intel, that's a lot. Actually. So E0 that Netflix.
Okay. I'll tell you right now, Netflix has a 3 down on the month. That's one of the ones that I actually looked at. So let's look at the Netflix. The flicks. And also, what I like about Netflix is that this right here actually looks like a demand zone or basically resistance. And it looks like it's rejecting from that. But Netflix has a nice 3 down. This could go 3 down and then 2 continuation. Try to tackle this right here. But Netflix looks really ripe for to just fall. So like I was saying, this over here is a looks like an order block. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and I don't want to just keep drawing these. So it looks like it's an order block.
Yeah, because of that three, I'd say look for 600 or 575 clicks for Netflix if it triggers below the lows this month of July. So you can write those down. Expiration, if it does trigger, I'd say September or October expiration.
Do we have any more? Let me get back to the chat.
PanW.
And
I'm
W.
not sure about PanW because did Nancy sell? If Nancy sold, then whether she's holding or if she sold, that's going to give you the answer whether to hold longer or not. Nancy Pelosi.
Well, I think she bought this, and she also bought Nvidia like before it. She bought it at like a high. I'm not sure if she bought more recently, but I know when around the same time she bought the Pan W, she bought Nvidia, and then Nvidia got clapped. Pan W is an inside month. So this could go either way. Is this trading at all-time highs? Do we know? Um,
Looks like it.
okay. Yeah, so that could be a thing too. All-time highs can sometimes act as resistance, not all of the time, but they can sometimes act as resistance. So you just want to be aware of that. Um, okay, yeah. So this is the all-time high and the 52-week high right there. So that could definitely act as resistance as it has done 2 months, a couple of months back. It consecutively rejected from that area for 2 months. So with this, you definitely want to mark the highs and the lows of the inside candle, and then wait for a strong break in one direction of that. I'm not sure if the whole crowd fiasco will trickle into the cybersecurity and as a whole, but crowd this month is it's just been getting super sold off. It's pretty bad. Did you already answer this question about the range rush reversal tutorial?
No, we can drop that link if you need it. So it's on the YouTube channel of Teach.Trade.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Roblox, MRK, Oxy. What chart is NVIDIA showing? Sorry, I don't want us to jump around too much. But okay, MRK. Yeah, MRK has been getting destroyed already.
Yeah.
It looks like it's not done though. That actually can easily get to $100 potentially. Dang, I never saw that on the monthly from, or did I? That's a clean. I think what happened is that MRK dropped. I think it did like all of that drop in like 1 or 2 days actually.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It just happened so fast. It feels like this second half of July dump happened so fast. I feel like especially um, you know, just with everything going on. That's how quickly the turn things can happen. And that's again sort of like why we're sort of stressing this new month. But I would say if you're looking at MRK, look for opportunity because I guess it doesn't have necessarily a trade setup, but this would be a continuation. If MRK triggers the low of July, this is a continuation down all the way to 196. So you would just look at $100 puts for September. If you want to write down that trade idea, it looks like it's gonna follow through. Honestly, that looks like death. It looks like it's gonna get destroyed. I like that. I'm looking at the chart. I have not drawn anything. I'm just looking at Jamal's chart right now. But that, based on my experience in trading, that looks like a put and a half. The only thing that can bounce it is, I guess, that fair value gap on the daily. That's like right there. But I feel as though like its mission is all the way down to that 96 or whatever number that is. It looks like 98. Yeah. That's its mission, to get down to that most recent low. So who said that? Lambda? Landa, he found something that looks crazy.
We had MRK. Somebody said Oxy. What's Oxy doing? So this looks like what, a failed 2 up. It's kind of been in this range too. So Oxy, I know XLE in general has been getting a little gas this month. So this one, if we're looking at the sector overall, this is more bullish than bearish. And even if you look over here, the strength is more bullish. Oxy doesn't necessarily have a setup that I personally would play on the monthly. And like I said, it is kind of in like a range. I see, just looking back from here, it's kind of in this range. So I would prefer it to kind of break out of that range, this whole range right here. So this one doesn't really make me too excited, but I will watch XLE. I will watch XLE to see if we can get a bullish continuation. Lumen. Oh my. So Lumen, this month took out like what, almost like a year's worth of downtrend. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, more than a year's worth of price action is taken out in this 1 month. Do they have some sort of news or something that happened with them? Because this looks kind of ridiculous. So maybe this looking for this to, because this is a 3. So maybe looking for this to go 3-2, continue to the upside. It can go to like around 445, basically $1, maybe 450.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Sorry, I'm just looking at the chart.
Lumen Technologies. I have no
Yeah,
idea
no,
about
yeah,
that.
I know the ticker, but the chart, what the hell?
Yeah.
That is what, like Zach Morris? Is he back? Is he on it? Or Timothy Sykes? Anyone know who that is?
Yeah, I remember him. I used to get emails from him.
because something does not just normally have 10, or actually that's like 15 green trading days in a row, and then suddenly like up 300%. Let's see. You haven't heard Timothy Sykes' name in a long. The only reason why I even remembered his name just now because I feel like I scrolled past a tweet by his just like yesterday or the day ago. I'm like, oh wow, because he was my very first like exposure to trading, definitely with those penny stocks. And then that's when I learned that I don't mess with penny stocks. But with penny stocks, that was kind of like the OG because it just felt like, hey, this is the most accessible and affordable way of trading for regular people who don't have a lot of money. Yeah, until we discovered options, you know. Um, thing about penny stocks is they can. So penny stocks are fine. It's just most of the time it's companies that are terrible, and you know that the only reason why they're going up is because there's a whale who's pumping liquidity into it. But then the moment that the whale is done with its food, then all of the fish who are following along get swallowed up. And I had too many experiences with that. It feels so much like crypto. When I see like all these meme crypto stocks, now that's what that's reminding me. Because those things can go to zero easy, just like meme stock or meme coins on crypto. Oh, Wish, y'all remember Wish? It's so crazy. Like Wish, the app, not even just the stock, like the app fell off, man. Everyone moved on to Temu. Isn't it crazy? Temu just came in and replaced them super easy, like nothing. I think people feel as though Temu is more trustworthy. I know this is kind of, I guess we're getting a little bit off topic. If you want to talk about Temu stock, that ticker is PDD, and China has been getting whooped the past couple of weeks after it had a pretty bullish June, I think, or was that May? Either May or June. But I'm not really sure what to think about Chinese stocks. I would say stay away from them still. Um, Chinese tickers, um, there's just something going on in China that, as most of us being Americans, I don't think we just fully understand. Um, unless you are very politically, or not just politically, but socially, politically, economically knowledgeable and informed about China's situation. But there's a lot going on, and I think things can just change at any moment. And even though we had that really bullish month from China, where a lot of us made a lot of money, by the way, um, it's been unreliable in my opinion. And at times the charts don't feel like they make much sense, or that I'm able to gather enough information to determine what trends they are taking. Um, all except for uh, June or whatever month that was, where we absolutely were able to anticipate what direction it was because it was so obvious to them. But right now, it's back to being less obvious again. So there's probably some individual tickers in China that are fine, but for the most part, I'd say stay away. Um, the Lumen, that chart looks crazy. I don't know what to say more about it.
Yeah.
What I do want to say as a nugget, for everyone to check out is Zoom. So look out for Zoom to the upside, okay? So I think Zoom is finally overdue because, by the way, Zoom is at all-time lows on its stock, which we shouldn't necessarily think as a bad thing for the company, even though we just destroyed and talk so much mess about penny stocks. If you look at Zoom's monthly chart or historical chart from beginning to now, that is so egregious. This it has the same it has the same kind of thing as like a penny stock, where it was worth so much at one point, and now it's like worth so much less. But my argument would be, number one, Zoom has never missed earnings in its entire lifespan as a stock. It has never missed earnings, which makes it all the more puzzling why it's sitting where it is right now. But I think what happened is that investors um kind of said, "Hey, during COVID, this was worth a lot because everyone used it during COVID." And so now post quarantine, I would say, is like investors are probably like, "Hey, this was extremely overvalued. Now we're balancing it at a price value of between $60 and $70, right? Which is very favorable, and that completely makes sense, right? What doesn't make sense, which feels like a mispricing, is that why has the stock not moved for so many months, actually close to almost 2 years now, where it's been consolidating between that price range between 60 and 70. And so, um, given it's beating earnings every single time, and given that their revenue is actually steadily increasing, there may be a breaking point where investors, where and momentum for the actual value of the company actually starts to take a shift. And so, what I'm telling to everyone here right now is that the shift is looking like it's happening right now, you know, and that it started here in July. If anyone saw my watch list from Sunday that I posted the trade ideas, Zoom was on there. Zoom actually printed for about a 50 to 100% trade this week on the swing. It had a really good move from yesterday into today, and then today it pulled back, right? What I would say is that I would recommend to people to look for Zoom to the upside. I think it's gonna take a bit of a moment to the downside for a moment, just because it hit some resistance. Probably needs to cool off for a little bit. But it is very likely that because Zoom took a major low on the monthly after making that all-time low, it formed a strat setup and it also formed a bit of an ICT setup. What I can say by that is that because it took a major low and then it formed, and right now on the monthly, if you're looking on the monthly right now, that it formed an inside candle. We now have an actionable signal that's giving all of the information with an inside candle. Unfortunately, I wish it closed as a hammer. If it didn't have today's red day, it would have closed as an inside hammer. But it's just an inside month now. But we took the low the previous month. We took a very major low. Then we formed an actionable signal, which means that there's a broadening formation on the lows. Because there's a pivot machine done up, which we kind of just discussed earlier when we were talking about Walmart to the downside, this is now to the upside, where this has opportunity to just break out all of the people who were shorting it over the past several months, about 6 months. It could trigger all the stops of those people who have a short position. And that is giving it potential to get as high as 64, 65, 50, and all the way up to $71, actually, everyone. So I would certainly, what I would give as a nugget to everybody right now is look for $65 calls for October. Um, and then $65 or 70 for January. Okay. That's a trade idea. I'm not telling anyone to go execute and buy that right now, but I would highly say like it looks like something. It looks like some big money right there. Back to the 68 and $70 ranges. Right now, it's going to cool off, but eventually, I think it's going to take its way back to the upside and start heading there. And so that can be a very reliable swing trade. Possibly, I'd say likely either the second week of August that maybe it might start looking more ripe for that to happen. I can't predict. I can't make a firm prediction on anything, but I'd say maybe around the second week of August, start looking for some Zoom calls for like super far out, like long term. All right. So that's my high quality trade idea there. We can get back to some other ideas or some other suggestions. I'm hearing things about DE, Nike, and NEE. So if we want to go in that order, Molly Mall.
All right. DE, I think it had a 3. So this is a 1-3. And I was gonna put this down. I just don't like how price kind of consolidated between the opening and closing of the previous month. But this is a 1-3, which could potentially continue to the downside. It's just this candle is kind of like right in the opening and closing range of the previous month. And then you do have this order block here that could act as support. So you just want to be aware of that. But DE does look interesting. It will have to, do a bunch to trigger on the month back to the downside. That's why I was the close is really where I was bringing me to not like this probably as much, because it would have to move, at least what, $30 to trigger the month to the downside. I would rather have this close at the lower part of this candle than the middle. It's like right in the middle of this candle. But I do think this is interesting. And maybe there's a setup on the week or the day that could catapult into the trigger in the month. But as far as industrials, I think some of the other industrials look pretty decent. DE with the 1-3, Lowe's has a 1-3 to the upside. But DE is one to watch. It just has a ways to go before it triggers down on the month. What was the other one? It was DE. It was Nextera. And Nike. So this Nextera setup looks interesting. Inside candle, almost like a Buster Sword. Inside candle. What I like about inside candles is that generally the next step is a directional candle. So I'm looking for this one to continue to break out to the upside. And maybe try to tackle that 79.75. Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I saw. It's a double inside month. So hopefully this does become directional after all of that consolidation. What was the next one? Somebody said Timothy Sykes. Yeah, we went over ARKK. Yeah,
Which one was this? Was this any? Okay. Next one was Nike.
Nike. Nike. Okay.
And by the way, feel free, anybody, if there's any trade idea you wanna, or you feel as though like you have and you want to explain by talking rather than typing, we also are opening the floor for that as well. So all you have to do is raise your hand if you feel as though like you see an opportunity and you want to explain the logic. Like we can sort of chop it up on here as well. So Nike got destroyed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it has an opportunity for a bounce. Okay, definitely interesting. It would highly need that. It would need that monthly time frame constantly flip so bad. Like it would need it so bad. I don't know how else to kind of like sugarcoat it or whatever because it's so bad in the sense of its current time frame continuity. Like it has nothing. It's all red. But AutoStrack sees some level of health possible for it. Maybe it just to cool some of the whooping down. And so it's saying that it's kind of at a point where the bullishness and bearishness are kind of equal. So we do have a 50-50 chance here for either upside or downside.
I personally don't like Nike, but yeah, the prices don't care about my opinion. They do what they do. But this would be an interesting one to watch. I guess you could consider this a fail two down on the month. Excuse me. So you can watch that. Radar is calling it a hammer, so it's a hammerish candle where the buyers have stepped in on it this month and drove prices back up. So you can see if that buying continues into August. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go over Pfizer, and then we're gonna take a look at GD. I'm not sure what Pfizer's setup is on the month. So Pfizer doesn't necessarily have a setup on the month, but I would watch this. As you can see, it is trying to break out of a downtrend. And what I previously liked about Pfizer is that if you throw maybe some SMAs on here, and particularly the 50 SMA, it's just now trying to cross back above that, which is very interesting. Another stock that kind of had that same exact move was something called I think it's ATST. So they were in the downtrend for quite some time, and then all of a sudden it was in an extreme uptrend. So I'm hoping something like that does happen, or history repeats itself, or patterns repeat themselves, as far as the same thing with Pfizer. So if you go to the week on Pfizer, you can see what I'm talking about. So here Pfizer has been in the downtrend and has been under the 50 EMA, which is this yellow line, for quite some time, for a long time. This is 2003, January 2003. It's been in the downtrend underneath the 50 EMA, SMA, and now it's finally trying to break back above it. So if it can hold strongly above that on a weekly perspective, I would love for it to do that. On the monthly perspective, we were just looking forward to continuation to the upside on Pfizer. Above 31.54. But the week is really what I like. It's trying to pop back up and give some upward momentum back above that 50%. So the stock that I was talking about is this, right? What is it? STS. So this has the exact same type of thing going on. Was it this or was it something else? Because this is not exactly what I was looking at. It was something I can't remember, but this popped strongly above that 50% too. I could have sworn it was this one. But Pfizer looks good. Doesn't necessarily have a setup, but that's something to watch as it tries to shake off some of that rust. So GD on the month is a fail 2 down, and the score is extremely high. This is what I had in my notes. That score looks crazy. So this is definitely bullish. Kind of sold off a little bit, and then the buyers brought it right back up.
Get ready to play some block games.
What does that mean?
What? Isn't that what they do on Roblox? People with kids, nephews, and nieces, what do they be doing?
Oh, playing Roblox. Roblox actually has a nice setup on the day. I think it has like a bull flag that is popping out of. We can look at that next. I'm not sure what the month was looking like. What stopped me from marking it down for a monthly setup is because they have earnings tomorrow. So I wanted to see what price did to the candle. But we can look at that.
Maybe if you make a good trade on Roblox, you can get a. Wait, by the way, what was the chart before that we were just looking at?
That was General Dynamics.
Oh, that John looks crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So GD. Either triggers high super hard with that score. I'm just curious about what it does after it makes a new all-time high. Because we could literally sweep that previous high and then it's over. And then it crumbles.
Well, they sell weapons of mass destruction, so I think they'll be good.
Amazing. Just what I ordered.
Yeah. They
All
might
right,
just
so
keep going up.
Roblox.
So Roblox
Look
is a
at
2 up.
if you can get a good trade on it, then maybe you can afford the Robux for the kids. 'Cause
Excuse me.
that's what they use to buy the in-app purchases and whatnot, right?
Oh,
The
Roblox.
cosmetics. Robux, like
Robux.
a buck. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said Roblox, like
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna finish this
Oh,
stupid thought
hold
I
on. What did I
had.
say? Roblox? Ro.
Yeah,
I meant to say Robux.
yeah.
What the hell is Blux? What is that? That's not even a word.
The Roblox plan. Sorry.
Roblox
Um,
looks good.
it looks like based on all depends on those previous highs if it doesn't do something stupid. Um, because essentially, okay, Jasmine. Sorry, y'all. Um, yeah, that the 212 that it triggered this month is amazing. It did hit its target. Um, it's all about if it decides to want to get past all of these previous month highs. So the ideal target would be the top of this box that Jamal dropped. That would be ideal. That it after that three or whatever that doji candle it did, which is the third candle from the right. It scooped up some buy orders, and now its goal should be to take out those highs that are all the way up there. It should be that, but we've seen time and time again sometimes where you hit any previous high, and then that's it. It's over. Trade is done. And
Yeah.
so, for the grace of God, you would think that this would allow the trade to just go all the way to as high as the boxes. You would just really have to be careful of those previous highs that it doesn't reject from them. What's the 3 month? Let me. That would help inform me maybe a bit. Okay, just triggered the quarter, so this is looking like it's getting to that box. So this looks good. It looks like it's just so interesting because it consolidated for so long. It's been in this box. Like now looks like the time that it should get to that high because we have the quarterly trigger. Um, I can't say anything about the results from the company or how it's performing. I can read reports, but if I don't have any nieces, nephews, or kids to reference about how often they're addicted to this thing, I honestly don't have a fair opinion of how well it is performing. But for those who do have access to that information by way of family and family friends, that could possibly inform more about how they are performing and continuing to be popular amongst younger demographics, or maybe even older demographics. Apparently, there are people in their 20s who play Roblox as well. Possibly people in their 30s, which I'd probably have to have questions for and report to authorities. But, maybe those are some trends that are contributing to month over month, quarter over quarter performance. Wait, what's the 12 month saying? So Easy Money said, look at the year chart. Did we get over the yearly open? We should be over the yearly open, right? No, we're not. Actually, no, we're not. But that's looking like the target. That's looking like where price should be gravitating towards if it doesn't do anything stupid. So the
Let's
only
get some.
thing stupid I see is the price at 42.65. 40 42.65 just looks like something that just might ruin your day if you're trying to swing Roblox to glory, which is like 45 and 47. 42.65 is like, oh my God, please just let this go. Because otherwise, this stock is looking like it wants to go straight to 44 or 45, which would be a great move. I would just think that maybe things cool off. It has, ever since its last earnings, this has been like an amazing gap fill. Like, glory. It saved its entire self after it gapped down from that earnings. It just came up and filled that gap like nothing. So it might have some cool off, and I'm thinking that cool off might start now. But I think eventually this should be back to that 40. Especially somebody just triggered the quarter. Might have some resistance because of the quarterly trigger. Pull back for a little bit and then start moving all the way back to 45 and 47. Go to those previous highs, like we were saying.
All right, so Roblox looks interesting, tantalizing. Boppy, what's that?
What?
Is that a ticker? Boppy? No.
Uh,
Okay. All right. So let me see if I can give one. C.
yeah. Oh, did we look at Chipotle? Yeah.
Chipotle.
Somebody mentioned Chipotle.
Oh man, Chipotle is getting shitted on. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we knew that too going into July. Um, so it can still fall further. It might have some bounce now, but July was mainly the month of getting destroyed. There could be one more two down. Um, right now, I don't really know what else to say because it's gonna open as an inside candle, which is unfortunate. So we kind of probably have to go down the lower time frame. What's the week right now? It's probably like a hammer or something. No, no, not a hammer, but it did. Trying. It's still inside. It's trying to figure out for a moment.
Yeah.
And it looks like it bounced off of that moving average,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is on your screen.
50 SMA.
Yeah. So because of this week, it may have some attempts of recovery, but like Jamal said, it's been getting slapped up crazy.
Yeah, they reported good earnings. It looks like. Not sure if they're giving more food. The portion size is what people were complaining about. I guess chicken and steak is costing them, so they cutting back. Cause I'm up right now. Oh, they still giving out. They still being stingy.
If I was a Chipotle worker, man, I would put 3 grains of rice, one chicken cube, and call it a day. Because you're not gonna be here filming me while I'm doing my job, asking me to put more. I'll walk out first before I serve you more of this food, being in your camera roll. But that's just me. But maybe the investors in the market didn't really like that point of view.
Yeah, I'm sure the employees will probably give as much. It's probably something that's coming from higher ups. Like, only give this amount, maybe.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's how, because they have to conserve their the the inventory. I'm sure about the
Um,
yeah the pre-merger.
so let's see. This one is pretty
Oh,
expensive.
which
I'm not
one?
even gonna go to this, but I mean, I don't play this,
Ulta?
but yeah, this looks bad.
Okay. And things have been. This is a month.
Yeah.
Things have been getting destroyed, man. But yes, um, right now it's looking like it's breaking. I'm trying to look at. I feel as though like that most recent low that's trying to hover around to the left. It's gonna try to bounce off of that maybe for a moment. Um, so it's probably gonna open the month lower and then try to fall a bit lower. But that three, that shooter three is bad. Um, I'm probably gonna. So if anyone wants like a nugget, if some game, typically when I see personally, I'm gonna speak just a little personally, not for everyone. But when I see a hammer three or a shooter three, and if you don't know what a three is, that just means that the candle broke both sides of the previous candle. Um, a hammer three or shooter three, those are so. Well, I was gonna say dangerous, but I'd say lovely. Lovely in the sense because you're gonna get some movement if you break beyond that three, essentially. So what I'm saying, based on what we're seeing on this current chart, the most recent candle that's a shooter, um, essentially, if we break below that, that's what's called a 3-2 expansion. And why it's called an expansion is because a three is supposed to be a broadening formation. It's a range, right? It's a range that we're trading in. A 3-2 breaking out of the range by definition is expanding beyond the range or expanding the range that we're trading in. So that can last for however long the candle lasts, which means that as soon as that break happens, for the entire month, something can split. If we're just using this example, for the entire month, Ulta can continue to expand to the downside and continue for the entirety from August 1st to August 30th. Or how many days are in August? Is, is August the one that's like 31 is two? Uh, and you go back to school, man. Yeah, August does have 31 days. Um, the only thing is this Ulta's been getting killed badly already. But because of that shooter and if it's an outside candle three, if you break below that, it could just get much worse, essentially. But most of the time, you want to catch those when it happens at the actual like turn or reversal. It was like almost that at the very top when it did have this most recent drop. That's kind of like a similar type of thing where you just blitz and it just keeps going. The same thing is true of on the call side where you see a hammer and the three. Those are so good when it means like you're coming to your or the price action is moving back into a previous range. It gives you so much space to move. Like those are some of the best setups that you can find.
I also
Um,
have setup
yeah,
as
go
well.
ahead.
I guess not a setup, but I guess we could take a look at the chart. Uh, well, just give me one sec. Your stream is not loaded for me, so I'm just gonna rejoin, and I'm gonna see the stream so I can commentate with that. All right. I actually see the screen now, so I wasn't sure if you're done with this chart, Key or Jamal.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on SPX on the weekly. Um, very interesting things that's going on the weekly here. I know Autostratic has a setup, but really what I want to talk about is that this could be a pretty easy sort of layup for those who are looking to maybe trade SPX to the upside. And the reason why I say it's an easy layup for the upside is because if you'll notice, SPY has actually been an uptrend for quite some time on the weekly scale. And so what you'll see is that SPY, after creating the new high, has actually retraced into an FVG that exists. The FVG is formulated on Monday, June 10th, and an FVG price is between 5,373 and 5,418. And so this kind of movement here, what we're seeing is that we're kind of confirming a bounce off this FVG. You'll see that the candles don't close inside of it for 2 weeks now. We'll have a candle approaching it, then it got a bounce, and we also have a green candle on top of that, right? Um, so for us, like I would say in terms of high probability trade, or I guess the trade that you actually want to take a look at, is really just the upside from that weekly high, which is that 5,551, as AutoStratic points out. And the reason why I'm pointing that out, guys, is because within 2 weeks, like you'll have a chance to capture like over 100 points, potentially on SPY, uh, or on SPX. On SPY, that might translate to between $10 and $11. But why that's really important is because obviously, like that's a lot of money that the SPY, SPX, and SPY can be really, really leveraged. But also, um, if you're looking to make intraday trades, or you're looking to really just have a lot of bang for your buck, pay attention to this chart and mark these levels. The days where SPY either approaches or gets close to those levels, if you try taking intraday moves on there, I guarantee that those days will be a lot more volatile. And as a result, like you might see those days where you have like 100 to 1,000 to 50 to 1,500 1,500%. And I don't want to like you know guarantee or say that's going to happen, but I'm telling you that if there is a potential for that or those days, it's going to be within like the next 2 weeks. So I just want to bring your attention for that. And it's kind of what I've just been waiting for since last week, and I'm also going to be waiting pretty patiently to see how this week closes out on the green candle. But just so you have a context of what I've been looking at, or what I'm going to look at for the next 2 weeks, in terms of just looking at SPY, coming in every day, uh seeing where the levels of liquidity are of the past week, of the past day. Does it look like we're going to break or have a really substantial move up or down? These are scenarios where I set myself up where I can say, okay, these calls are really volatile. There's a lot of liquidity. SPY's moving really nice. It's not dragging. It's not consolidating. It's either going up or down very clearly. And as a result, I myself am able to like regularly enter SPX 0 days and pull out like I just did this today, like 40 to 80% within like a couple minutes, right? So if you have like 2 or 3 of those a week, that's you guys will be up, right? So um, I just want to point you to this kind of setup on the weekly because this framework where this thing is clearly bouncing off a weekly FVG is like going to be the basis of like where I think SPY should go. Because if SPY is going to go anytime lower, all I have to do is wait for a candle to close either at or a little bit below that top level of that weekly FVG. And then from there, I know that, okay, like, there's a lot of downside we're going to target and sort of mag it into. So, like, sort of what Key was saying, it's more so about being prepared and understanding what is about to happen. But what I'm telling you here is that SPX itself is kind of gearing up. It's kind of building momentum to make a move up or down. Uh, I have a bias towards up right now until I see this FVG not respected. My bias is going to be up no matter what at this point. So um, yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to point out and um, bring attention to. But that kind of weekly scale on SPX is going to be a basis of my framework for like the next 2 weeks trades.
Yeah, I like it. SPX could really do numbers when you get in at the right time and at the right place. That thing, wow, it could really go because as you
Yeah,
can see, the
like
ADR is crazy.
yeah, and also something else to mention that if you take a look at this on a weekly scale, right? You're saying every candle is a week. So within 5 to 10 candles, that might be a month or two out. Well, like what's happening? What's happening 3 4 months later? Election season's happening, right?
Hmm.
This is like really crazy conditions for like extreme volatility. That's why I have a really long-term bias for the upside because I'm not saying like SPX is gonna hit 6K, but if it were to hit 6K, it'd do it right now. You understand? Like it'd do it within the next 6 months. Like it wouldn't do it next year. It wouldn't do it the year after. It'd probably do it right here where it's primed up. It's destroyed all the lower levels, and the election season's coming up right now, right? And if you have that, if you have the intuition or you have that preconceived notion that the market is set up in a certain way, and I myself and people on the stage have been trading the markets for a while, like if what I say happens, then just like don't be surprised because it's kind of like setting itself up to do that in a way, based off like what we see right now. Of course, like of course, my theory and my observations could change given like wherever the weeks play out. But like I said, we're worried about that FVG. If that FVG is respected, then it's all the way up. To be honest.
Yeah, I would definitely make a note of that. Um,
Um, yeah, when it comes to triggers, um, again, you just always have to have your stops. If there's any trigger generated by autostratic, it'll also tell you when the stop is. Um, if it says invalidated, it will show invalid if it ever says, "Hey, the trade is not um, valid anymore." But with big breakouts, so what I would say is that it one way to definitely think about it is And hopefully I'm clear how this makes sense. So if we think about either a daily, weekly, or monthly candle, if if the reversal happens, if let's say it's a candle, and follow my words very closely. If a candle starts regular, right? It just started, and then it starts green, right? And it's going up, and then you see it hit like a resistance, like a previous high or broad or something. If in the first third of the complete period of time of that candle, right? That it goes from green to red, that is a signal that it could reverse all the way, right? And that's then a failure. And so understand what I meant by that. In the first third of the period of the candle. So if we're thinking about a daily candle, split up each day into thirds, right? How much time is there typically in a trading day? About 7 hours, right? So you might think about um, 2.5 hours each, right? That 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. So if between 9:30 and 11:30 or 12, that candle went from green to red on that day, then that it might sell off the entirety of the day, right? Or that might be that the trade starts being invalid, and that's when you might want to start thinking, okay, this might be something where the momentum is lost. If that reversal happens after, like way later at a certain point, that might be different. So the same logic applies towards a month. If you see a monthly trigger, let's say something has a monthly trigger, says calls or whatever. Let's say or let's say let's use the other side. It's a monthly trigger says puts. Maybe it says it triggers the put, and then within those first 10 days, if it went from red to green that fast, then that might signal that hey, that might start being invalid, and that trigger, which was once triggered to the downside, may become a failed trigger that might turn into a 3, which we know is to be an outside candle because it triggered the low. Maybe that has potential to trigger the high of the previous candle, right? So hold on to those words and how I describe that very carefully, okay? That is going to be something that gives you more insight to think about. Is this a failed setup and now this is like a reversal, right? So think about it. The first third of the period of time for a day, that would be the first 2.5 hours. For a week, that'd probably be like the first 2 days or so. And then for a month, that would be the first 10 days. So that should help you with better understanding reversals. Most of the time, when we trade, we want to keep our stops consistent, and we sometimes might want to keep them tight. But depending on your trading style, that's not going to be a one size fits all whatsoever, you know. But for me, no matter which trigger I'm trading, the stop loss is going to stay the same, no matter what expiration I'm picking, and no matter what strike price I'm picking. Okay. But that's because if I'm trading something on the higher time frame, my expectations for what expiration I'm picking, as well as how far I should be looking for the trade, the stop loss is going to be consistent, but it's not going to get triggered as easily if my expiration is super far out, if you understand what I'm saying there. Okay. Um, that's why for some people they trade weeklies and 0 days, and they might have a stop loss of something that's like 20%, but you can get with that stop loss, you can get stopped out immediately, right? But that's only because your expiration, that either your expiration and your expectations are not aligned about what to expect and how fast the price action and the contracts are moving, you know. But that's just me, as it pertains to, let's say, about stop losses for the thing. But I do want the lesson and little bit of game I just dropped about the first third of a period of time, because that can help you go a long way with understanding if something's going to actually be a full-on reversal where it's a failed trigger into a reversal all the way to the other side of the previous candle. For a monthly trigger, most of the time they say to get a little bit of a domino effect from either the daily or weekly into the monthly trigger, if that makes sense. So let's say we just saw something earlier that had like a daily setup. There was something that looked awful earlier, like about to really get destroyed. But I forget which ticker. But when I saw it, it had a inside day, and it had an inside day while also having a bearish month setup. And so that looks pretty great because if it broke on the daily, that could go into the monthly trigger and just plummet further down. You know what I mean? Um, was it square? It might have been square or coin. It was probably coin. Square does have a huge shooter on the. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's the monthly. Okay, yeah. Square does have a 3-1 right now, and it's a bearish 3-1. So Square is literally an example of that. Yep. And I think Coinbase. Yep. Coinbase was the one I was thinking about. But Square as well. And so, and again, both of those are things. Oh, ARKK. Yep. Those are all examples. Those three are examples of things where you can use the daily or the weekly, the smaller time frames. Use those triggers to lead into the monthly trigger. But based on what we just talked about, that all of these are such amazing questions, by the way, because taking trades from the monthly trigger, you just got to make sure that your expiration is long, right? That you are far out. You heard me talk about the Zoom contract and the potential Roblox contracts. That I was saying uh, uh, October and January, right? For some of these, I said, oh, September's fine. But for some things, it's like you might want to see October because if you're taking a monthly trigger, you likely do not want to be on weeklies, bro. You do not want to be on weeklies at all. You have to have some time because from those monthly triggers, you can get yourself into a situation because of the fact that you're triggering a major level that there may be some orders, like stop orders or whatever, that are getting triggered the moment that price crosses there, which is what would cause a reversal per what we just talked about in terms of identifying one and what to look out for, right? And so to be able to offset that, you want to be able to buy time such that the actual trade pans out and all of that. I call it intraday BS. That you're able to weather the storm because intraday BS is what that's kind of like if I were to talk candidly and like talk about the issues of the average trader and most of the questions we get and most of the issues that people always struggle with, which includes everybody, by the way, even experienced traders and whatever, is how do I improve my entries? How do I improve my exits? And why people feel that way is because they feel as though they start trading okay, they start trading good. Man, things make sense. And then when things stop making sense is when a setup is saying something, and then you have to wait 7 hours and 30 minutes of your day to determine, am I getting crossed over and crossed up like Allen Iverson in '03? Because what is happening? Because my position is getting crossed up because of this stupid up and down in the market just to sell at a low, just for the trade the next day to go in the direction that I was anticipating before. So until the market stops crossing people up and breaking our ankles, this issue is going to continue to happen amongst us in terms of our entries and feeling as though that you don't understand what's going on in the market. But that's I just call that intraday BS because that's what it is. It's literally the market makers hold the price at a certain place, and until eventually they move it into the actual direction that we're actually trying to go to. That's often what Aman teaches as well, with learning how to better read ICT stuff. Um, and that's what I've kind of developed an understanding for as well. As you've seen, like especially those who have been noticing recently, like I personally don't trade every single day anymore. I might stream most days, but not every day. Some days it's just really like one trade or just looking. But there's some days it's like there's no trade because it's like, hey, like I'm forecasting intraday BS to occur and I don't want to deal with it and get upset that I'm about to karate chop my computer screen, you know, um, because it's intended. It's literally everything is by design. It is intended for you to lose your money. Did I trade today? No, because today the federal meeting for the interest rate is intended for people to lose money. As much as I typically used to love like trading the big move on FOMC, clearly, clearly today was like, hey, we know how many people love trading FOMC. Let's just screw everyone over today. Like they didn't even move the stock like they typically do at 2 p.m. Did anyone notice that? I'm not trying to rant or anything today, but I'm speaking to the ideas and feelings and experiences that we've all had, and hopefully granting people towards ways of avoiding them, and that we have this as a precursor as we navigate August, especially the beginning of August, that we might encounter some of these things as great as a lot of these setups that we charted today are looking. We found so many great setups, but we still want to be properly positioned such that we don't jump the gun, as well as we just give our setups a lot of time to breathe so that we don't run into this common, so common canon event of an experience that we all have as traders where we wait so long for things to pan out and that we get caught up and we false ourselves for bad entries when it's actually something else where we're getting caught up in the whirlwind of the by design cross ups of the market where things don't happen, so that they take your money until they actually move it in the direction it's supposed to go. Thank you, Lati, for bringing up Coin about they having earnings and Square has earnings. So both Square and Coin have earnings, which means ARKK is about to make a big move. But did all that make sense that I talked about? And do some of these charts and setups we found make sense, chat family? Have you found tonight's session useful? Press one if so, or yes. There's probably more that of these setups that we're going to find this weekend. Because one thing that we will do is because we have a new month, you kind of just let things breathe for a moment. There's going to be things that trigger immediately tomorrow, and those are going to be cool. There's going to be other things that, they're just going to breathe. Like that Chipotle that we were just talking about earlier. Chipotle, there's not going to be much information tomorrow. It's about to open up as an inside month, and it's going to consolidate, and that's going to be the market cross up that you don't want to play. Likely, that's a 90% chance of happening with Chipotle. But then, as we get some more information, like when we finish up Thursday's trading session, Friday's trading session, then start a new week next week, then there's going to be more information to work with. So, yes, this has been recorded, I believe, if Jamal can confirm.
Yes, it is being recorded.
And if anyone has any other tickers, questions, or whatever, you want to ask us before we hop off.
Yeah, so don't forget, this is just the start of the new month. So if you find anything on your own, feel free to drop it in the chart channel. Post your charts channel, and we can definitely get busy. But if there are no more questions and concerns, the session is ended. Like I said, you could always contact us in the Discord if you have anything, the gems to drop.